What's happening? It's What You Want on the GOAT server. We got a black NBC zombie down there. You can find them in the toxic zones. They're almost as strong as a priest, if not slightly more. So I put together a little ballistics test here to see how the different ammo stacks up against each other. The 7.62, 3.9, 5.56, 7.62, 5.1, 5.4, and even some of the heavier sniper rounds. Let's see how it goes against the NBC zombie. These ballistics are for the GOAT server on version 1.23, so things may change in the future, just keep that in mind, but currently, here's how they stack up. I'll be shooting for center mass. Let's see how things add up. Alright, this 7.62 by 39 rifle had a 30 round magazine. We got 4 in the magazine and 1 in the chamber. So that one took 25 rounds. It'll get the job done as long as you don't mind running through magazines. Up next, let's try a 5.56. We got the MK18 with a 100 round magazine. See what we got. And it looks like the 5.56 did slightly better with 21 rounds to drop the zombie. This one did have 1 in the chamber already, as well as a full 100 round magazine. 21 rounds on the 5.56 out of the MK18. So we do have a slight improvement over the 7.62 by 39. 5.56 is slightly stronger. And just for consistency, I did want to test another 5.56. Here we have the HK416, also in 5.56. Has a 40 round magazine. Let's give this one a go. And with this one, it shows we used 22 rounds. I think my sights were off a little bit on this one. I might have, one of the shots, maybe my barrel was bent, or, I borrowed the weapon. Anyway. 22 rounds on this one, with the 5.56 also still comparable to the other rifle. Not sure if it was a rifle or me. I'm gonna go with me. And from here, we're stepping into 300 Win Mag on the HoneyBadger. This one is internally suppressed if you happen to like the rifle. It's really fun to shoot. Small, compact. Not a lot of recoil. All right, with a 40 round magazine, it looks like it took 13 rounds to drop the zombie. 13 rounds on the 300 Win Mag with the HoneyBadger. Currently brings it to be the top round out of the 5.56 and the 7.62 3.9. But up next, we got some 308. Let's see what we can do with that. All right, coming up with a Scar H. Chambered in 308. It's got a 30 round magazine next. Pretty excited. I got high hopes for the 308 round. Let's see what we do. 17 rounds with the 308 for the same zombie. So that actually is 5 rounds more than the 300 Win Mag. Scar's a nice weapon though. I want to test another 308. Let's grab the HK417. And here we are with the HK. Has 30 rounds of 308. And it seems to be consistent with 17 rounds of the Scar as well. So with the two 308 weapons being equal, makes me feel like I did miss a round when I was testing the 5.56 rounds. That about does it for the assault rifles. Let's move on to something a little heavier grain. But first, a word from our sponsor.
Broadcasting across PvE survival from high atop Alta Hill. It's 87.8. The GOAT. So roll up and spark a fatty. Get murdered by bears. Or just chasing that next airdrop. Remember to keep those walkies cranked, because the GOAT has you covered.
Make sure you tune into the GOAT Radio 87.8. Those guys work for psychedelics as well as narcotics. Up next on the shooting range, we have the 7.62 by 5.4. Let's take some shots with the popular Drugunov. Be trying to make sure I hit all my shots on these higher caliber weapons. Okay, 15 with the Drugunov, the 7.62 by 5.4. The 10-round magazines that required a magazine change in there. Maybe not the most effective, still get the job done. Up next, let's try the DMR. The DMR is 308. I know we've done a couple 308s already, but I wanted to see how it fares with the precision rifles. We got a 20-round magazine. Let's see if it's any different than the assault rifles. "15 rounds of 308 with the DMR, as opposed to 18 with the assault rifle, so you do get a little more punch out of the DMR. Probably the extended barrel. Maybe you're buying a higher velocity round. At any rate, you got 15 rounds out of the DMR. Well, let's see if we get the same results out of the 300 Win Mag, out of the precision rifles. Here we have the T5000, the Orsis. Let's see what happens. So 12 rounds on that one with the T5000 300 Win Mag. Definitely seems like you might be using an overpressured round. Give it a little more velocity, hits a little harder out of the precision rifles. Well, let's step it up onto something a little larger, the 408 CheyTac, and find out what kind of punch that has. Now, the 408 Cheyenne Tactical, or the CheyTac round, was introduced to be a competitor against the 338 and the 50 BMG, so hopefully it carries a lot of knockdown power. Absolutely seems viable at distance. Maybe against a deer as well, or if you're just out hunting bears from afar. But in a horde situation, I think I'd prefer something with a little higher rate of fire. 8 rounds to drop the zombie down there. It'll do. Let's take a look at the 338 Lapua. And I chose the ASW 338 for this test. It's a bolt action 5-round magazine. Let's give it a go. All right, 12 rounds with the ASW 338. I really don't have a whole lot to say about that. Make sure you're somewhere safe if you're running this weapon, or just keep it on the shelf on display. It's very pretty. Or just take it out hunting. Let's move on over to the 50 BMGs. All right, first in the 50 BMG series, we have the Ash 12, 10-round semi-automatic. And 8 rounds on the 50 BMG out of the Ash 12. Semi-automatic, you don't have to cycle the action on it. Dropped him in 8 shots. Let's take a look at another 50 BMG, the VSSK internally suppressed. And the VSSK and 50 BMG internally suppressed, semi-automatic, 5-round magazine. See if we get the same results. And 7 rounds out of the VSSK. That kind of makes me wonder if I missed a shot using the Ash 12, or if it didn't register properly. Maybe I got an arm shot, didn't hit him center mass exactly. The damage should be from the round itself, not from the rifle, so I'm willing to say that I tweaked my shot a little bit on that one. And finally, we have the Barrett M82 50 BMG semi-automatic. See where this one falls. And there you are, 7 rounds on the Barrett M82. I'm going to say that most likely I just missed a shot or hit him in the arm when I was shooting the Ash 12 to give it that extra round. So that's it. There's some ballistics for you. Not really sure it matters. It's going to be a big personal preference. Maybe you like the way the gun looks. Maybe you prefer the magazine size. Maybe you like the recoil or lack thereof. But get on out there, get your loot. Hit the trader, make some money, buy the weapon that you want. Don't forget the ammo and the extra magazines. Try not to put a lot of thought into it. Do what you want, have a good time. We'll see you on the server.